Hello, Broken Arrow. This is City Council Rewind for the meetings on July 14th, Monday, July 14th. I'm Aaron McCullough, Communications Director for the city, and this is City Councilor Justin Green, appropriately wearing the correct color today.
That's right. Good morning. Actually, I should say hello, not good morning.
Well, good morning, hello, good afternoon. It all depends on when you're watching this video, actually. Productive meetings last night. Started off with a special meeting and then the regular meeting. A lot to cover. I think we're going to try to hit on 6 different topics today here. One of the most exciting things that the council approved last night was a film incentive for up to $59,000 for a movie that's going to be filmed right here in Broken Arrow. What is this film incentive, and what can you tell the folks about this movie?
You know, it's always a great day in BA when we have new projects coming to light here in town, something that's going to bring a spotlight to our city. And this new film incentive is something that our wonderful staff has been working on for quite some time. The state of Oklahoma has put in place some incentives to try to draw more movies and more things, projects like this to Oklahoma. And Broken Arrow has jumped on board and I think taken the lead as well as one of the largest cities here in the state in trying to invite people here to see our city, to display our city. And this new film is going to be produced right here in Broken Arrow. It's something that's going to be a big boost for our economy. It's going to be a big boost to shine a light on our great city and all the wonderful things that are here. So it's super exciting.
And this is a pilot program that the council approved and is working with Visit Broken Arrow, the tourism board here in BEA. We're one of 5 communities within Oklahoma that actually gives one of these incentives. And one of the things I thought was interesting last night was the production company owner came up, spoke with you all, and said that they've done a lot of films out in Cherokee Nation because the Cherokee Nation has one of these programs. But as soon as council approved this, they switched gears and said, hey, let's go look at Broken Arrow, and they really liked what they saw. And as you said, it's going to be a spotlight on our wonderful town. Most
definitely, and it's a benefit for the production company because they do get incentive for filming here. But like I said, it's going to be a boost to our economy, not just because of the attention that's going to be brought to Broken Arrow, but because the production company that's going to be doing the production here, they'll be spending money in Broken Arrow on hotels, on food, on all the materials they need to produce this film. Will be spent right here in Broken Arrow, so it'll be a boost to our economy and it'll shine a spotlight on it. So it's a really incredible opportunity.
And that's great because those tax dollars that they spend here go right back in. They're reinvested back in the community to help pay for police, fire, parks, recreation, all those city services that we provide. It's really important to note, too, that this incentive is paid for through the funds that we collect through the lodging tax. So it's not through sales tax or property tax. It's paid for from those visitors who actually come to Broken Arrow, visit us here, and stay at our hotels.
That's correct. And that's why it's important that we have those kind of taxes and things. So it allows us to be able to do these kind of things, to draw things to our city, to make our city a better place to live.
Let's move on to neighborhood street rehabilitations. These are big. I think we have right now 3 or 4 currently underway within the community. And last night, council approved another contract. This one's for Carriage Crossing, $1.4 million. Tell us about this, why these are so important.
You know, streets are always a huge topic here in Broken Arrow because everyone who lives here, who shops here, who plays here has to drive on the streets. It's a part of our daily lives, whether we're going to work, going to take our children to school, going to a sports activity, or out to eat. So it's important that we focus on our streets and we put the appropriate attention on these. This new approval last night for our neighborhood is so incredible just because we want to not only ensure that our thoroughfares that are taking people across town are taken care of, but we want to ensure that our neighborhoods are taken care of because this is where our citizens live and they have to travel on these every day. So to be able to rehab this neighborhood is going to be an incredible thing. It will help the traffic that is driving on the neighborhood, the appearance of the neighborhood. So it's a very important thing that we take care of these things. We have wonderful city staff and engineers and folks who've been looking at all these things. We have traffic studies that take place. So that we know the index, the current condition of the streets and which ones need attention, and it helps us set priorities. And this is one of the priorities, and we're excited to be able to take care of this neighborhood.
And I got an update from engineering and construction last night, and they let me know that the money that's going towards this project is one of $12 million that's either in design or about to be going out for bid, and that's one of those. And then there's another $9 million that's already been constructed or is in construction right now. So you get about 20 million. All that 20 million is paid for through the 2018 GO bond. So these would not be possible without the voters' approval. So this is one of those it's a fantastic project to show that what the citizens wanted and they approved, and now we're giving on that promise. We're delivering on that.
Most definitely. It's progress is promised. We have a lot of lane miles here in Broken Arrow, and we do our best to take care of those. We want to keep up with our infrastructure. It's very important for the quality of life here in Broken Arrow. So I'm excited we're able to get this project on and started.
Staying with the infrastructure theme, Engineering and Construction Director Charlie Bright last night gave a presentation about some smoke testing that is going to be going on in the northeast part of the city around Houston, between Houston and Albany, those 2 miles there, and Lynn Lane to about a half mile between County Line and 209th East Avenue. So this is to find out those defects, cracks in the underground sanitary sewer lines. What can folks expect from this?
Again, this is another very important project. A lot of people probably haven't heard of smoke testing. When they see it happening, they may be a little surprised. But this project is very important because, as you said, it does help us to maintain our sanitary sewer system. As time passes, the wear and tear on those systems happens. Just regular wear and tear from the sediment, from the rain, from the elements, the materials wear out over time. And to be able to do the smoke testing project is going to make a big impact on how we maintenance our lines, and will give us some knowledge and insight into what needs to be maintenance. So when they do the smoke testing, there's a system that will put smoke actually into the sanitary sewer systems, and anywhere there's a defect or a crack in the system, smoke will actually come up out of the ground or out of the manhole, so we can see those areas that need to be maintained or repaired. So again, it's really important that we do this so that we can help take care of our systems. That way they can last us long into the future.
Let's see. Let's talk about Scottfest, a 2-year agreement. The Scottfest is going to be back at Central Park, and talk just a little bit about that.
Scottfest has been happening here in Broken Arrow for several years. It's a very unique event. It doesn't happen everywhere across our state, but it happens right here in Broken Arrow, and we're honored to have Scottfest in Broken Arrow. I've attended several times myself, even though I'm not Scottish. I know I may look it, but I'm not.
Well, what's interesting? Last name McCulloch. I do have Scottish blood. I've never been.
Oh, well, we'll have to change that.
So I may have to join you when you go this year.
Yes, but I do think I might look good in a kilt, so we'll see.
I'll let you do the kilt. I won't.
But Scottfest is an amazing event that's held right here in Broken Arrow. This year it will be held here again. We did extend a 2-year contract to Scottfest. This year it will be held right back downtown in the Rose District behind our Central Park. Next year the hope is to get it to return back out to Events Park where it has been held before. We did have to move it due to some of the construction going on out there. But it's a great opportunity for people to come out and experience a different culture, different foods, different music. Just an all-around great thing to come out and experience.
Let's talk about the special meeting right before. So this was at 5 p.m. This was a discussion about the manual of fees. The manual of fees, of course, this is the document that the city puts together every year, and it outlines those fees that the city charges for public services. So going to visit one of our swimming pools, the fees that developers pay, and utility rates as well. All of that is within the manual of fees. It's on the city website. This is something, those fees are evaluated every year. And the manual fees is adopted every year. And so last night's discussion was just your annual review of that document with a focus on utility rates. How did that discussion go down last night?
It's important that we have these meetings to talk about the manual fees, the utility rates, the permit fees, and those kind of things, because they affect us all. We didn't have a special meeting just to have a meeting. We want to be able to take care of the business of the people. The government has no money. This is the people's money, and we understand that. But the manual of fees, everything in the manual of fees affects every one of our citizens, but it also affects the quality of life here in Broken Arrow. And it's very important. Like you said, we reevaluate these every year. We have a company that looks at it and gives us recommendations. We look at those recommendations. We look at the numbers. We see how it's going to affect our citizens. And we look at the potential of what the increases will allow us to continue to do here in Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow has a very high standard, I believe, of all the towns here in Oklahoma of the quality of life that we offer here, and we want to be able to maintain that quality of life. And part of that is understanding the manual of fees and how these fees will affect our citizens and how they affect the quality of life here in Broken Arrow. When we look at things like the utility rates, we often think that, well, that's just for the water I use or the water I flush down my toilet, but there's a lot more that goes into that. Yes, those are some of the things that are taken into consideration in some of these rates, but we also have to look at the maintenance of the systems that are used to provide that water, to purify that water, to carry the water away, and those kind of things. So there's a lot that goes into these fees that are established. And not only that, we have employees who are behind all those things, doing the work, making sure that we can provide that to the citizens and keep our city working well. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's important that we discuss these fees and we look at those. And we've looked at several options for potential increases versus no increases, et cetera, and how that's going to affect us budgetarily wise. And if we increase this amount, or if we don't increase that amount, what that's going to do for our quality of life here in Broken Arrow. And there was a recommendation for a certain increase for fiscal year 2026, and we've looked at a couple different options here, and everything's still on the table right now. No action has been taken as far as what we're going to do. We're trying to decide what's going to be best. And the thing is, if the work that needs to be done, for instance, the smoke testing that we're looking at, that's something that will be covered by the fees, the utility fees. And the other projects, the sanitary sewer, the streets and stormwater projects. As you know, we had a lot of rain recently, and we have to do the things to ensure that that rain gets carried away properly. So all these things matter. But we're going to look at this and try to see what's going to be best if we're going to be able to meet those budgetary needs. If we can't meet the budget on those things, some of those projects will have to be deferred. And that's understandable. But if we defer some projects, also that defers the cost, and doing those later, that cost may have increased. So it's important that we try to look at every angle here and make the best decision that we can.
You brought up a question last night too that I thought was really important, and that was the reserves and being able to tap into that. Do you want to explain why? I mean, number one, it's a policy the council has set to have the reserves what they are. Do you want to explain just a little bit as to why it's not good to tap into those reserves because of some things that could happen?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, because I've had citizens ask me, we talked about deferring projects. Why can't you just do those projects with the reserve that you have on hand? We do have a reserve on hand, and council does have a policy that requires and encourages us to keep X amount of reserves on hand, because those reserves are very important, because we never know what's going to happen. We see things of natural disasters that happen, whether it's flooding, whether it's a tornado, whether it's the windstorm that we had right after Father's Day. And when those things happen, there needs to be money in place so we can take care of those needs so the quality of life can continue here in Broken Arrow. I think we've done an excellent job here in the city that when we do have a disaster happen, a flood happen, a storm happen, we're able to get in there and take care of it, get the sticks and everything hauled off, or get the lines repaired, get the streets back open. And that's because we have reserves. So could we do some of those delayed projects from our reserve fund? Yes, we could. But then again, when we turn around, something happens, and we won't have the reserves to be able to maintain the quality of life. Something happens and our water source is messed up. We need to be able to get that water purified and to our citizens. We need to have the systems in place to have the storage for water that we need in case of a disaster. So it's important that we do have those reserves on hand and we use those wisely.
And so next steps with this is potential council adoption at one of the two meetings in August, as we do every year.
That's correct. So coming up here in August, we'll put it back on the agenda, and it will come forward, and we will adopt whatever option we feel is going to be best.
And at that point, then those after adoption, the fees would not actually be implemented until October 1st. So there would be a little bit of time there. The manual fees always goes in October 1st through September 30th of every year.
That's correct. And it'll give people a little bit of time to know what's coming and to be able to adjust their budget however they need to adjust their budget. But I can tell you that the numbers that we're looking at are not going to be drastic changes. They're not going to cost you hundreds of dollars a month here. So we're trying to keep everything reasonable and within budgets, and we understand that everyone has a budget they have to keep at home, and we're trying to do our best to ensure that we're providing the high standard that our citizens want and are used to, but also taking in consideration our citizens' needs.
Yeah, from what I remember last night, it seems like the average cost, average increase would go up about $12.50 a month, something along those lines. And again, it's no action was taken last night because I know that you were looking at a bunch of different options, and so. But it did seem that the average increase would be about $12 to $13 a month.
That's correct. That's what we're looking at on average here. So that means I'm probably going to have to cut out a Starbucks or two here or there, so I can stay within my budget at home. But it's definitely doable.
And I think it's also important to point out that these increases, we're only doing them because we need to cover the cost of our expenses. I think one of the things that was really interesting that was brought up last night was some of the costs that the city has incurred. Electricity has gone up 20%. Topsoil, dirt that we need to be able to do backfill, has gone up 41%. Concrete's gone up 8 to 10. So I mean, that inflation that everybody is feeling,
right.
The municipalities and governments feel that as well too. And so we're only looking at these cost increases because it's necessary to cover the expenses.
That is exactly right. These cost increases are not going to be a profit or go into coffers or, rainy day funds are going to ensure that we can continue to do the things we need to do. Just like you said, we've dealt with the inflation at home and our individual budgets, and it affects the cities as well, and the materials that we have to buy and the services provided to us. It's just one of those things we have to deal with right now.
There are about 90 other items on the agendas, and for more information, you can go to the city website and click on Agendas and Minutes in the Government section. Click on the Date Range drop-down list and then select the governing body. Find the meeting date of your choice and select the meeting details. Okay, that's it for this edition of City Council Rewind. The next meeting of the City Council is on Monday, August 4th, and that's due to National Night Out being held annually all across the country on the first Tuesday of August. I know with your law enforcement background, this is a really important night for you. Briefly, what is it and why is it so important?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. National Night Out is a huge opportunity for our citizens to come out in your neighborhood, get to know your neighbors, and get to know your first responders. First responders will be out talking safety tips, spending time with the citizens, building those core relationships, because I believe as a first responder, having those relationships with the citizens helps us all. It helps us first responders to do our job. It also helps the citizens help us to do our job. So it's a great opportunity to come out, get to know your first responders, get to know your neighbors, and make your neighborhood a safe place.
So come get to know your city councilors on Monday, August 4th, and then come meet your first responders on Tuesday, August 5th. We'll see you next month.
Thank you for watching. This is a production of the City of Broken Arrow, the city where opportunity lives.